How I manifested $70,000 in a single month. Number one, first of all, my month did not look like I was going to make $70,000. Let's be clear, my month didn't even look like it was going to make $200. I've always been a business person for as long as I can remember. I've had a business. So yeah, I had the ability to make a lot of money, but there was always some secret doubt in me that I could actually make the kind of money that could really change my life. So this one month, I just didn't have a choice, guys. Like, honestly, things were going slow. Some things kind of fell out of alignment. Some things kind of fell apart. And I was thinking, what the am I going to do? Like, literally, my bills still keep coming, whether the money's flowing or not. So I instantly knew that it was my thoughts and my vibration that needed fucking work. And if I have to be real honest, I didn't have any other choice because I didn't know how in any shape or form I was going to make it work. So what I did was I just kept moving. I had no choice but to get present. So what that means is I couldn't look forward to tomorrow or the next day and stress and have anxiety and start thinking about that and what am I going to do and start going down that damn rabbit hole. So this was actually the best thing for me because I had this work to back it up. I was like, I can't go down that path. And I had to get real present for myself. What's true for me today? What feels good today? You know, honestly, I just need a fucking coffee. And I'm like, well, do I have coffee money today? Well, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but at least I have coffee money today. So I did what I needed to for my vibration that day. So I would get the coffee. Then I was like, things will come together tomorrow how they're supposed to. I kept doing what I knew to do and what felt good to me to do. And I just kept moving and going into alignment. That's all I could do. That's all I did. And then as things went differently, I decided to double down where it counts, my brain. So what that means is I doubled down on my brain and my energy. I journaled every single freaking day, multiple times a day. I listened to things that lifted my vibration, not just music, not anything like that. I didn't watch TV. I didn't listen to the radio. I didn't do anything except for the only things I listened to were positive types of things like this. So like either a podcast or audiobooks. And really, I just doubled down on my basic knowledge and wisdom of the law of attraction, manifestation, energy work, sound frequencies, and things like that. Then after that, I started just going where honestly I was urged to go. So I believe that we all have spiritual guidance and it's just up to us on if we want to listen. Normally, I could be kind of stubborn. Let's be real. I can be extremely stubborn. So the universe is always going to send you signs and guidance, right? But at first it looks like a whisper or it sounds like a whisper. And then if you're anything like me, then it's going to be like something like is throwing a brick at you because you simply just don't listen to the whispers. This time, I think because I didn't have any other choice, my resistance was so low, I just went ahead and listened to whatever it was telling me to do. So therefore, if I was being called to an audiobook, I listened to the damn audiobook. I put my earbuds in and I just went along and did the thing. I just kind of went in flow. I tried to look for the little things to feel good about in my life the way that it was right now. Well, what is true for me? What does feel good? What is working, even if it wasn't money? So I went and did these little things. And then I just told myself, like, I get to make money this month. This month gets to turn out and be however I would choose it to be. I'm just going to have faith. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep moving. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's, it's all working for me. It's all coming together. So then after hours and hours and hours and hours of listening to these audiobooks, I had a trip, had no idea what was going to happen on this trip because I really didn't have the money I was expecting to have. So I had to tap into and I didn't have that many resources because your girl didn't have a whole bunch of credit available and things like that. When you're operating a business, sometimes you use those for business expenses. And that's what I tended to do. So I had very little available, but I used what I had. And then it was like, okay, I'm just going to keep going, keep doing my thing. Kept listening, kept doing, I would post little things. I would do what I felt urged to do. That stuff didn't necessarily work. But as I was going and journaling each moment, really deepening in, but also really being present with where I was and what felt good, and being in awe of my surroundings. If a sunset blew my mind, I let myself feel that sunset. I let myself get deeply engrossed into the pleasure of that sunset. The food that I was having, I felt so fucking grateful I was able to have it. I felt so grateful that that part of my life was working out. I felt so grateful for the path that I had been given so far, and the fact that I was even there on that trip at all spoke volumes. And I was just grateful in the moment. I just kept doing the things that I knew to do. And I felt like my whole life had prepared me for this moment because I had tight times before. I'm a single mom. Like, I mean, back years and years and years ago, tight times was my reality. So I just kept going back to what I knew as I was called to it. When it was easy, when it was natural, I went with it. When it gave me a whole bunch of resistance and it stopped, I didn't use that as evidence that my shit wasn't working. I just used that as evidence that that wasn't the path for me. And so then I just kept rerouting, kept rearranging, kept going, but I never once doubted that shit would work out for me in the end. And in fact, I got this crazy thought in the middle of the month, and I'm like, what if this is actually going to be my best month of my life? What if this is going to be $100,000 month? What if I could actually create $100,000 month by strictly working on my thoughts and working on my energy? I kept working my practices. I kept working my process, the process that I teach my clients today within my coaching and my courses. And I really, really doubled, tripled down on these practices. I kept having to ask myself, do I believe what I teach? Do I believe what I give others? Do I really believe in this work? And the answer I came back to every time is yes. I had evidence. It's worked for me in the past and it would work for me again. And I just kept going back to that knowledge and that deep faith within my belly that it was going to work out. And I didn't need to know the how, and the how that would be unfolded for me when the time came. And then I just chose to feel good anyway. So as I returned from my trip, things still hadn't taken this huge turnaround. It's not like this turned around within 7 days. It did not. In fact, I remember going and speaking to someone I knew, and, like after the trip, and I said, I should be really worried right now, but I'm actually not. I had a plan that came to me on the plane, and I was like, this plan is crazy as fuck. I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know how it's going to unfold. And I just kept doing not the busy work that normally my action would force me to out of scarcity of making things happen. I just did the things I was called to do. I said, I'm going to ask this person this question. I'm going to make this person this offer. I'm going to do this. And that's all I did. And then I doubled down. And then it was like, okay, post a few shorts to YouTube Shorts or whatever. And I would do that, and they'd be getting tractions. And the thing I felt about that didn't bring me any money. And I just want to say that because many people think, oh yeah, she posted to YouTube Shorts. No, that shit didn't work. But what it did do is I got crazy high fucking views on that. And I have no idea where that came from. But that crazy high view lifted my vibration. It gave me hope. It gave me like a sign, it felt like, from the universe that everything was working out in my favor. Even if that's not where my money came from, I was doing what I was urged to do, and it was fucking working. So I kept going, kept doing all of this, kept saying, I don't know how this shit's gonna work. I don't know how this is gonna unfold. But I kept saying to the universe, and guys, if you're going through this situation, please say this. No matter how shit kept showing me that it may not work, or things got difficult, things got hard, I just kept my head down, and I would say, universe, I know this looks like it's not going to happen. I know you're this is hard right now, and I don't really care what I have to go through to mold me into the person I have to be in order to receive what I want to receive this month. I don't care what's happening around me. I still fucking want it. And I really, really stepped into that. And guess what? I lied to you not. In the last few days of the fucking month, all of a sudden somebody said yes. Then they paid an invoice. Then somebody else came and wanted to pay me early. Then something else happened, and another person said yes, and then their money started coming through. And then all of a sudden, I'd say in the last couple days of the month, the money just kept flowing in. It seemed like out of thin fucking air. Like literally. Like it fell directly from the sky. I know they say money can't fall from the sky, but that's how it felt. That is how it felt. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is how manifestation, the law of attraction works. It did not make fucking sense. Like, if I were to go to paper, and yeah, I could in hindsight break it down and like really like say, and this is the offer I made, and I had this available to me, and this is what I did. But it didn't fucking make sense. It like, I literally had nothing in place for this to happen the beginning of the month. None of it looked like that was going to be my reality. And in fact, I think if I had offered this to these people like the month before, they would have simply fucking said no. And it honestly, it just really, and I wasn't attached to anybody saying no. I'm like, the worst they can say to no, and I'm going to be in the same damn situation that I am right now, and it's not going to hurt me, but at least I will have known, and I would have went for what I wanted. And I'm being urged to ask, so I'm just going to fucking ask and trust that that's on my path. Money doesn't come from people, it comes through people. And I just kept fucking going. Some of the ways the money came in wasn't even through those people at all. Like, it was through some random things. Like, I would get an email and somebody wanted to work. I'm like, I don't even know who you are or where you came from, but it just fucking worked out. And I would say by the end of the month, I was sitting at, and I just remember looking at my computer screen in disbelief, and just not disbelief because I also had this sense of knowing, but I looked at it and I fucking cried. I cried because I had created $70,000 fucking dollars in 1 month from nothing. It did not look like this was a possibility for me, and it wasn't $100,000, but it damn near was close. And I honestly feel, had I opened my capacity even further and regulated my nervous system, it could have been $100,000 a month. And believed in that last hour, but I just was so in shock. And I just had to regulate my nervous system around holding the money that I did receive. I started feeling sick, and I started getting some up-level flu, and we'll talk about that in another video. And I had to work through that. But like, it's just to tell you that you can literally create whatever the fuck you want. But you gotta fucking believe it. You gotta throw everything out the window. Like, honestly, like, all the fucking rules, all the limits, all the reality things that tell you this can't fucking happen. And believe me, naturally, I'm a logical person. I want to fucking know and have evidence that it's gonna fucking be okay. But that's just not how the universe fucking works. Not when I have these, like, it works for like normal shit, but it doesn't work for this type of results. It just doesn't. And everything is possible. Like, you literally could do this too if you wanted to. And the processes that I teach here, and the processes that I teach and give my clients, it's just like, man, it makes me emotional just to think about, because like, we really are creators. You just have to simply believe that you are.